We are organizing this event from EIT Food. Here I am, Nestor Chaleco. I have my colleague Paula Hafner, that we are organizing the event. And we have also the technical support of the colleagues of Trust IT and also our colleague from EIT Food, Irene Mendoza. So as we don't have a lot of time, only some instructions for the event. Also, as you know, the event is going to be recorded, so later anyone can see it also. And if you want to see later, the event is going to be available at the website also. Please, we want to have like an interactive event, so if you have any doubt, try to use the Zoom chat. Here, at this point, I cannot see the chat, but have some colleagues that can see all the questions. So if you want to put questions to the speakers or anyone, use these chats. And also, we are going to use some online polls, that are going to be launched during the event. So trying to know your opinions and what's your interest. Short introduction about EIT Food. It's a small introduction who we are. So EIT Food is the biggest community in the agri-food sector in Europe. It's created by the European Institute of Innovation and Technology, the EIT, and funded under Horizon Europe funds. So we are a community that brings together industries, startups, universities, and research centers, covering all the quadruple helix of the sector. So the main headquarters are in Belgium, but we have three main regions: the South region, the Northeast region, and the West region. And we are located in the South. At this case, we are from the South cluster of Bilbao. And the strategy of EIT Food is focusing in 6 focus areas, with different alternatives. At this point, related with the topic of this event, we are working about sustainable agriculture, and so how the soil is related with the sustainable agriculture. Also, everything is focusing the consumer and with the digitalization. And we have 4 main activity lines, as are the education with training programs or courses, the innovation supporting research and innovation projects and programs, public engagement, and of course the entrepreneurship that we are going to see later with some successful examples. And today here we are organizing the event inside the Nations Project. Nations Project is a coordinated and support actions funded by the European Commission. The main objective of the project is to support one of the missions that under the Horizon Europe program the Commission has launched, that is the mission Soil, a soil deal for Europe and its objectives. And specifically is focusing on the Living Lab calls, because there are specific topics or specific calls related to the creation of living labs in 2023 and 2024. So nations have a different supporting tools for supporting the creation of these living labs, giving some keys and some tools to the creation of the living labs and the projects related to this creation. So what's this mission? The mission Soil for Europe, as I said before, is one of the 5 missions created by the European Commission. So it's like a strategic line for the Commission is related to soil. The mission wants a transition to healthy soils in 2030. At the beginning was 10 years, right now it's not more than 6 years, so we don't have a lot of time. And the mission is at the heart of the European Green Deal. It's the biggest program of the Commission. The von der Leyen European Commission is one of the main programs, and they want to do the transition to overcome the threats of the climate change. And why this mission in soil is needed? Because the main reasons are here. Our soils are threatened due to the current management practices for the pollution, the urbanization, and the effects of the climate change. We have more than almost 3 million potentially contaminated sites in all Europe. And as you can see here, no, more than 60 or 70% of the soils in Europe are considered unhealthy. So we need to do this transition to the healthy soils. No? And also almost a quarter, no, 25% of the lands have erosion rates. No? So it's important to try to focus on soils and how to improve them. So the main objective of the mission is to establish 100 living labs and lighthouses to lead these transitions to this 2030 year. So it's because this living lab creation is very important for the mission and is one of the objectives of the nation's project. So these living labs are, as I said, are in the center of this mission approach, to address these healthy soils, and they are based in three main concepts and pillars: the research and innovation, the citizen engagement, the literacy of the soil. So this is one of the main objectives of today's event, is to improve this citizen engagement, to know more about the soil's literacy, and see different transversal visions of the living labs of the soils, and at the end also the monitoring, how these living labs can monitor all the activities, the practices that they do regarding the healthy soils. Okay. And the living labs are related with the main 8 objectives that has the soil mission. Here you can see all the main objectives. There are 8 very important objectives: reduce desertification, conserve solid organic stocks. So you can see the 8 objectives of the mission. And of that, under soil projects, as I said before, we are trying to support this call for 2023 and 2024. The call of the last year is under evaluation at this point. So it was the applications were done in September 2023. And for the 2024, we have not already the new work program published. It's expected to be open in spring, but the submission of the new calls are expected also for September this year. So be aware of these dates and of the opportunities that are coming. And here, as you say, as I said before, from Nation, we want to support this mission and mainly these living labs. And under these objectives, we are creating, organizing different thematic events at European level. So with different transversal issues. At this point, the gender barriers, it's like we consider it's a transversal issue. It's very promoted for the European Commission, not only for the soil mission, but for all the research programs or the research activities that they are promoting. So we are trying to connect how the gender is related with the agri-food system. But here you have the rest of the events that we are organizing from Nations for this month. So this is the website of the program, of the project, and please register for them, because they are targeting different thematics. And of course, the objectives of today is to introduce this challenge, to show the best practices in the gender and agri-food sector with some experts, with some projects, with a successful experience of women working in the sector. So, and also to inspire new opportunities and encourage this matchmaking, the cross collaboration between all the participants here. Try to improve, to connect one each other. Also in the chat, we are going to include some links for this matchmaking, or some tools that we have from the project. I'm going to tell later. And this is the agenda that we are going to say, that I was saying before. After my introduction, it's going to be short, I hope. Amparo, our colleague from Amparo San Jose, is our colleague from EIT Food, is the entrepreneurship program manager of EIT Food, and she's going to talk about the agri-woman, or how is the presence of female in the creation of startups and the businesses. Then Damien Jourdain from Danone, the director of open innovation of Danone, is going to talk about the role of the soil and the healthy eating. Also, it's important to link the soil with the food. Later, Lara is going to introduce the EWA program. It's a program from EIT Food supporting women in business, the entrepreneurships of women. She's going to talk about this program and some successful examples. And one of the successful case, for example, is the related living labs with the gender innovation from INOL. It's how we can include the gender level in the living labs. And of course, the one female leading a company, agri-food company, have Sultan Gul from Micro Hobbyist, that they are working directly in the soil health with their products. So they are going to tell us later. So we are directly focusing in two of the main objectives of the soil mission, to conserve the organic carbon stocks. And of course, the main important thing for us is to improve this soil literacy. Sorry, I'm going to go fast because I don't have a lot of time. So as I said before, from nations, we have different tools for support you. The main ones are the national engagement events that we organize in each country. We did last year for the first call, and we are going to do during this year for when the new open call, so when the new call is open. So we are organizing one event in each country. Also, we have done a series of webinars. We have a matchmaking platform. It's important to have. Later we can detail better. And finally, we use a different channel for disseminate the mission message. For us, it's important to show this message. Here you have some the main tools and events. Later you can see that. And from my side, I think this is the introduction. So I give the floor right now to my colleague Amparo. As I said before, this is the entrepreneurship program manager at EIT Food. So Amparo, thank you very much for your participation, and I give you the floor so you can start your presentation.
So yes, I'm going to speak a little bit about women-led scale-ups at the end of the presentation with a focus on agri-food women-led scale-ups. So first question, maybe you wonder what is a scale-up, because each of us probably have a definition. There is not a standard definition. So for this study that we carried out last year with the room, we focus on startups that have at least 50 employees, and they have raised a VC round in the last 3 years. So that's if you see a startup that is already paying 50 salaries per month and living and alive, so that means that they have done something right. So this is why we call them scale-ups. So we look across Europe to see what was happening with these scale-ups and whether they were creating value and where were creating that value and how was the support of investors and other elements. So that's the reason we did the study. So first, a bit of a zoom. So you see a map where this it shows a little bit the number of scale-ups, women-led scale-ups in Europe. There are 610 scale-ups. Average size of those scale-ups is 88 employees, and all over around the world they have created more than 74,000 jobs. So they are really creating value for Europe. If you see around the map, you can see the regions where they are more. They have been growing more. Of course, the Central Europe is the leading region for women-led scale-ups in different standards, in value created and also in funds raised. So these are where women-led scale-ups have been able to be more numerous and more successful. Also in the Nordics, you have seen that they have duplicated their value created more than 10 times. And in the next slides, we will see more than 200 scale-ups are located in the UK. So then it follows France with a bit more than the 100. So between France and the UK, we cover 50% of Europe, and then Germany is plus 80. So we see that almost 2/3 of the startups are all clustered around the main geographies. So that's one of the reasons also that EIT Foods does a lot of work in other geographies to bring more scale-ups, and not only women-led scale-ups. So hopefully you get to see slide 5 now. I don't know, because I don't see it. So what we see here is that women-led scale-ups, they have been more successful than non-gender specific led scale-ups or only male scale-ups in creating value. So you see that all the scale-ups around Europe have multiplied their value by 5.5 in the past 5 years, while women-led scale-ups have multiplied by 6.5 value. So you see that they have been more successful in generating value. That value is measured by the funds that they have been able to attract. So I'm already in slide 5, and I'm moving to slide 7. So here you will see. So now we have what I explained is that the value that they created and the countries where they were creating more value. But now if we compare here, yes, now if we compare the countries that are more gender balanced in terms of scale ups, that is where are more scale ups compared, more women-led scale-ups compared to those that are not only women-led scale-ups, we see a different representation. So we see at the top, we see Finland, where almost 1/4 of the scale-ups are led by women. And then we see surprisingly Italy and Portugal, which normally in terms of gender they don't score that high. But on average, you see that we are in Europe, we are at 8% of women-led scale-ups versus all the scale-ups. And below that is where we really have to pay a little bit more attention. So if we move to the next slide, and soon to the next one, we see that this is something that is widely known, that the women-led startups and also scale-ups are poorly performing in terms of getting funds from venture capital investors or from angel investors. So on average, for the past almost 10 years, the amount of money or the share of the money that is invested in startups, and in this case in scale-ups, is always below 2%. So that's something that is really hindering the growth of female-led scale-ups, and we have to be working on it. In this slide, I don't have the final numbers for 2023, but it's again below 2% of all the money invested in Europe in scale-ups. So this is an area to work on. So if you see, it was moving more positively over the past year, so it was increasing the amount invested, but now what we can see is that even it didn't maintain, or it wasn't able to maintain the positive growth. So women, we need to do better on fundraising, and that's why through the different programs that we have at EIT Food, we also pay attention in doing that. So I'm going a little bit to the sector. So it's slide 10, I believe, 9. 10, 9, 10. Yes, that the previous one. So there are some important things to see that I want to show here, and that relates to the sector. So agri-food is not one of the top popular sectors for investors. Well, it is fourth. Food is the fourth sector in terms of industries that receive investment. Still is far. I mean, it's about less than half that health, and almost half of fintech that are the top sector, and enterprise software. But food is well positioned in the fourth place. But then when we see if it delivers the value that maybe investors expect, despite the attractive, we see that food is stepping 2 places below. That means that for the money, and way to read it is that for the money that investors put, the value created is mostly the valuation that startup is getting in that round or in different rounds by further investors. And we see that despite they put is the fourth industry, that see that is only the sixth industry in terms of creating value. And that means that food startups, in order to be as attractive as startups from other industries, mostly fintech and health, they need to work on growing faster and delivering more money, more value creation, and attracting more value. There are some, it doesn't show here, I don't have these slides, I didn't put them, but there is two specific areas where female-led scale-ups are doing better than the average. That is in those that are working in fintech, sorry, in with an impact objective, and also are deep tech scale-ups. These are rating a little bit further. So if we go to the next slide, I will not stop here much, but this is something important to see, and I think that there is an important challenge for women in general. So food is one of the sectors where is attractive to women, but as we see, it's not where the top money is going. And still there is something that what the general belief that women are more active in certain sectors of the economy is true, because we see that the startups that have more women as founders are in wellness, beauty, kids, education, fashion, and foods. We saw that these are not the startups that are raising more money, as we see on the right. So this is a challenge that historical gender perceptions or historical preference of women for certain areas of work is still something we need to fight for. So we go to the next slide. Okay, and what we see here is that, well, it's improving, although it's not great. It's improving. The picture is improving slightly for female-led startups that are fundraising. And as I mentioned specifically, impact is an area where women are creating and growing startups. And something very positive, and that funds are valuing it, is that women-founded scale-ups are very strong in delivering impact. These are the SDGs. When we categorize the women-led scale-ups, these are the top SDGs that they were delivering impact, and of course, climate action is where many of the female-led scale-ups were fitting. So we go down a couple of slides, and then we have a bit of a picture of the food sector.
If you can go
Up.
faster, Amparo, sorry.
Yes, I'll do faster. No, up. Okay,
Yes.
another one. Okay, yeah, whatever. Yes, we keep it there. So we see we had a look to the 51 women-led scale-ups. So out of the 610, only 51 are in the food sector, in the agri-food sector. So that's even less than 10%. Despite the money that they are attracting, they are less active. They capture 8.8% of the value, and a little bit more than the average amount, and is 10% of the funds raised. So overall, in the past 3 years, they have raised 1.6 billion euros in the food sector. And to get to that point of becoming a scale up, the food startups, they are taking on average 7 years, which is the same that the rest of the startups. So these 51 startups are located mostly, half of them in the UK, again in Germany and France. And something that is particular about this specific sector is that these startups are almost 90% of them located in big hubs. That is in Paris, Berlin, Munich, Milan, Madrid, and Barcelona, Oxford, and London. So being a woman and creating a startup and scale it to a higher status, outside of those big entrepreneurial hubs is very difficult. So that's why we need some policy action, and also some from the EIT. We focus on facilitating access to funds, to investors, and to partners outside the big regions. So that's the only point here, is that female unicorns are very scarce. So we have only 8% of all European unicorns that have a female, at least one female founder. Doesn't mean that they are all female teams, but at least there is one female founder. And then I think I will close it here, because otherwise the organizers, especially Nestor, will kill me. I have the presentation for you. There are a couple of slides with a picture of the different initiatives and the different venture capital funds that are focusing both in food and also in female-led scale-ups, that you can tap on them and resource to them, because they are more sensitive either to this sector and also to the gender distribution of the team. So thank you very much. Apologies again for all the messy issue with the Zoom and the different views, but I hope that that was some inspiration behind all the figures.
Thank you very much, Amparo, and sorry for pressure you. I see in the chat that people is asking about the presentation. Yeah, the presentations are going to be later available in the website of Nation. So yes, we give us the presentation. So people, if you have interest in the details, you can go. And of course, if you have any doubt, also you can put in the chat, and later we can share with the speakers. So now, thank you very much, Amparo. We continue with the next speaker. In this case, is Damien Jourdan from Danone, and Damien is the director of Open Innovation of Danone and Community Animation. So he's going to speak about the role of the agri-food, soils, and healthy eating. So, Damien, for you, you have 15 minutes or so. So the floor is yours.
Thank you for having me. Hopefully it works, but I think on my double screen it should be working. And so let's give it a start. As a mean of, I try to be fast, but as a mean of introduction, yes, I work at Danone. That's probably the only slide I will mention Danone. I try to be kind of a person, a food professional in the food industry, observing what is going on and trying to ask better questions, because I'm not entirely satisfied on how obviously things are going on. So for the people who knows me, I like to zoom out a little bit and get an eye-bird view of what I observe and what I like to share. So we'll talk a little bit, obviously, I changed the title, not in soil, but from soil to healthy eating, which allows me to go all through the value chain on a few observations. But we'll talk about that. I always start, to be honest, I always start, let me move this. I always start with the big picture. We are in an industry in this decade for the climate that is transgressing in a big manner all the planetary boundaries that has been transgressed by the human society. So we are there everywhere. And we know, so I probably know all the facts that are in the middle, especially the environmental one. That's obviously, as we talk about healthy eating, that additionally to that, there is a lot of healthy concerns related to the food industry today, non-communicable diseases, unequal access to healthy food, and a big social side of things as well, especially when it comes to farming. And what is our target? The target, I guess most of the audience know the donut from Kate Raworth, gives us the ground, the social foundation that we need, and the ceiling on the environmental side. So everything we do, everything we innovate should be helping to go within that decade as much as possible within that safe space. A few additional reminders that are often overlooked is our food is coming from farms. Let's never forget this, especially when we are in the industry. We tend to forget, and that's kind of number that we have in this report on the right: 700 farms shutting down every day in Europe. That should concern us all by a lot, and again, that's a big lever that we could do to improve, working on this, that we could improve our food system. Another thing that is hardly talked anytime is how much reliant of petrol is our food system. 10 calories of oil to produce 1 calorie of food. A century ago, it was 2 calories of input, mostly manual, to deliver 2 calories of food. If we believe that's going to be sustainable on the long run without changing much, really a number of people really doubt about it. So really something that is overlooked. Another, again, initial insights that I like to bring always back is this, it's a fairly old paper actually from the Ellen MacArthur Foundation a few years ago, but every dollar that comes into the food industry as revenues is also generating $2 of societal cost, societal and environmental cost, as external externality, as negative externality. So basically, we can say that eaters are paying 3 times their food. When you pay at the store, on your medical bills, the industry poison people way too much, and in subsidies and obviously recoveries of environmental disasters. So food is not cheap. It looks cheap. It's not. So again, what can we do to change that? And obviously, this is part of the bigger picture of the now so-called Anthropocene, the great acceleration since the middle of the last century, in which food is totally part of. Every exponentiality that we have observed into food production, use of oil, quantity of food that is put, ultra processed food that is put on the market, fishing, overfishing, etc. And obviously, I encourage everyone who has not done it already, reading The Limit to Growth, that is so much could be written today, was written 50 years ago, and is just explaining what's the consequences of crossing the limits. I also like to go a little bit back here in time, where what is taking us there, and especially when it comes to this term Anthropocene that is so probably wrong in the way it is coined. It is really a subset or the consequences of what is called the age of modernism that starts with the epoch in the 18th century of Descartes, considering the world, nature, as a machine, but also human body as well. This very idea that society and human is separated from nature, and nature needs to be controlled, and coming closer to us as a consequence, soil is a substrate, and therefore needs to be enriched, needs to be fertilized, and every species that live into it needs to be controlled through pesticides and things like that. And never remember, that keeps us closer maybe also to the topic of gender and place in women. We note that the whole economic system and our worldview is so much in the West rooted in patriarchy, in colonialism, and extractivism, in a very specific worldview that where we can track back a lot of our problem today. So women in the room, what we see here is really a problem of worldview. Our system is a produce of a worldview that see the world as a machine that needs to be controlled. I repeat myself. And many of the things that we report today are rooted into it. But it's there that I'm not comfortable with the term Anthropocene that seems to imply that every human civilization have had the same tendency to look at nature as a resource to be exploited. Today there is a whole movement that looks back into the value of indigenous culture that are on their side rooted into interacting harmoniously with their surrounding, with their environment, including in agriculture, and don't look at animals and plants as a resource, but as other beings with whom to interact in a respectful way. So that's one, but also, again, women psyche. Don't want to be stereotypical here, but human psyche is different from the male psyche. And here there is a lot that a more balanced gender can offer into shifting our worldview. In terms of perspective, the people thinking, and here I'm putting this graph, actually we don't see the reference, but it's Bill Reed from Regenerative that is part of this regenerative movement that I quite a lot follow and I'm part of, is looking at where we start from. This more degenerated economy as a whole, certainly very valid in food. When we look at efficiency, we look at collecting data, we look at things in a reductionist manner, meaning separated from the interaction in the wider system. We have a food system which is highly specialized and centralized, but become fragile as a consequence. And we need to move to the right to embracing the complexity of nature, of living systems, being much more holistic in our worldview, and think about a food system that will be ultimately, if we want it resilient and more sustainable, or even regenerative, will be more distributed, diversified, and certainly going to rather relocalized, less mechanized, relocalized a food economy in bioregion in Europe and elsewhere, and so on. So very important graphic as a compass to have in your mind when you think and innovating on what needs to be changed in that food system. And shifting, I'll go fast on that, but shifting from this idea very linear that we start from consumer needs, with design product innovation, and then we optimize operation, which is very much the Anthropocene worldview, and shifting to something which is much more circular in the mind that we are going to develop healthier farm under agroecology, who grow healthy plants in healthy soil, grow healthy animals, have healthy people and healthy communities more realistically. Now I'm going to dive a little bit into soil because that's also part of the topic. Obviously, soil is not a substrate; it's not an inert substrate. It's space for a huge ecosystem of life, from viruses, bacteria, fungi, and a lot of arthropod and all the species that makes it a living system. And a living system that have so many functions beyond a substrate for the plant we grow. And here it's a graphic from the FAO. You can find it very, very well. But really the idea is encouraging everyone to see the complexity and the wholeness of what soil is and why important it is to everything, not only human, not to be too much anthropocentric, but also human. And anytime we think about soil and we design innovation, we need to think about all of that and how we can combine our designs to embrace the complexity of the function of the soil, and not to, I don't know, think only about carbon and forget the biodiversity, forget how soil is important in regulating climate, regulating water, regulating lives that are also important to other living beings. And rethink the way we do agriculture as a consequence. How can we use agriculture? Yes, we still have to produce a lot of food, but not necessarily with all those fertilizers and pesticides. How we can work with soil to use the ecosystemic function, the ecosystemic power of the soil to grow stuff, instead of ignoring it or against the soil, the very soil's life. And it's not experiment, it's that whole movement of agroecology that show that we can produce in many times even more food per hectare than conventional conditions. How we can redevelop crops, and I love this example from the Learn Institute, to work with soil through the root system. We know there are so many interactions with the soil and the soil organism and root system of plants. And here you have a variety of wheat that has become perennial again instead of annual. And so over the years, we grow 3 meters roots that interact with the soil in many different ways, and enrich the soil and enrich the plant that we're growing as well, and makes the life of farmer easier. How we can use the soil and the plants that we grow, actually, like Commandant is doing on 1 million hectares in Spain, to basically fight back against the desert. And when you have plants in an healthy soil that store water, then actually plants and trees make rain come back. And rain is not a consequence of vegetation. Plants are not a consequence of rain. It's the other way around. Where you have plants, you have rain. So restoring the small water cycle sends to soil.
You don't have a lot of time. If you can be short. Sorry.
Yes, I'll close in a couple of minutes, hopefully. So I'll go back again, agroecology and holistic grazing of animals. You can have something that is close to carbon neutral food, and that's a good example on how, when cows are actually grazing instead of eating corn and soy, you can completely reverse and work with the soil to absorb so much carbon that you get this kind of results. I learned on to healthy soils and the number of studies that are growing that shows that when you have healthy soil, plants that are growing onto it are much more healthy and include a lot of more variety of phytochemicals that are eaten by animals that as a consequence are healthier, and meat contain a more healthy phytonutrient as well, and leading to healthy human. So again, as I need to close, this is a very, very exciting field of nutrient density and nutrient diversity beyond the macronutrient that we only monitor in food today. But I love some of the players like Brighty that I've been working with that called nutritional dark matter. We know so little of the plant compounds and therefore that we find them into animal when they eat them. That might also influence our health. And the initial publications that are in this field are extremely exciting and show how much we don't know about all this complexity and impact on our human health. And as a consequence, how we could reverse all the diseases that are plaguing our society. So 2 last slides to finish. When we talk about food, real food has no label. So if you think about our food industry and how we spend time into talking about clean label and all that bullshit, real food has no label. So go back and help people go back eating real food. And the last one, talking back really about soil. Soil is about 20 centimeters to maybe 2 meters thick. And that's all where our life support system lies in. If we destroy this, which we do, what do we have to live? We are just on a piece of rock in the middle of the space. That's how thin our life support system is. So we must take care about it and change our worldview to take care of it and embrace the complexity and the life system that's in it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Damian. It's really interesting, how soil is linked with the health and also with all the objectives, that you say in the mission, that we are talking the soil missions of the European Union. These new practices of agriculture, they are really linked to a lot of the objectives of the mission. So thank you very much for the interesting presentation. Right now we'll go. I don't know if there were some talks in the chat. As I say later, if you have specific questions, we can put later at the end to any of the speakers. And now, sorry, because we are from late, we go with Lara Rodriguez. Lara Rodriguez is our colleague, is the responsible of the EWA program. EWA is the Empowering Women in Agri-Food. So it's related to detect and support women starting new startups in the agri-food system in different countries. So Lara, she's going to talk us about this interesting program. Thank you, Lara.
Thank you, Nestor. I will try to be brief as well. How many minutes do I have? 3?
No, you have 15, but I'm going to tell you.
No worries. The first I wanted to say, meanwhile my computer works, is that I was very impressed with the presentation, with the previous presentations, Damian and
Lara, we are seeing also your notes.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to change the presentation mode. Yeah, can Perfect. You see now my screen?
Yes.
Exactly. Thank you. I think it was very, very, very interesting talk, and the connection between the soil health and how these practices that really empower the communities and the food that we produce, that increase nutrient density and diversity. That's something I will take on from the previous speaker. I think that's something obviously that we are all the people involved, as well as creating a more diverse and equal kind of world, right? So I think both topics are hardly touchable, but in somehow interconnected. So my question here to start was I wanted to ask for you, do you think that does gender matters for soil health? This is actually a question, since there are two important but very different and diverse topics. One is very transversal, the other one is more vertical, more specific. Well, the short answer is that yes, it's connected, actually. It's connected because gender, and of course, as other social difference factors, is obviously connected to the way we access to the resources and information, is very linked to the decision-making process, and in the final version is very linked also with the land allocation around the globe and also with the soil management practices. So in general, around the globe, not in Europe, poor quality land is usually allocated to women, and there are less also land allocated, or not only allocated, but with entitled to women around the globe. This is something is changing, thankfully. But still, there is a really profound lack of reliable data on gender in relation to agriculture. It has very hard for me to demonstrate the need based on the scientific evidences. And this data is particularly, this gap is particularly noticeable in relation to soil health. Some of the reason can be that it's very, it's kind of quite hard to separate, to isolate the gender as a common, the gender as a factor for everything that has to do with agriculture, farming, and soil health. Since everything, as we say, is interconnected, and the challenge of unraveling these complex economies, the social and ecological processes, and how we see the field and the landscape, it might be interfering on the data extraction, let's say. But just wanted to mention that there is actually a real connection between gender equality and soil health that is being under study. After saying that, I would like to present what we are working on at agrifood to solve slightly the issue on the lack of participation on women as entrepreneurs in this case in the particular sector of the agri-food sector. Some of the reasons why we started this program, I started this program 4 years and a half ago, is that we realized that actually there was a lot of information, a lot of women dedicated to research and to education, the educational part of the agri-food sector, but hardly maybe 20–30%, depending on the country, of the entrepreneurs in the sector were female. And this is especially evident when you see the farming sector in Europe. Only 28% of female in the agri-food sector have a management or senior role in the livestock agricultural farms. This is even worse in some European countries with lower per capita and innovation ratio. So we are usually tackling South and Eastern Europe. Still a lot of difference between countries. And some of the barriers that the female entrepreneurs find in the agri-food sector are well, clearly, as Amparo was showing us in the previous presentation, they found clear funding barriers. They receive less investments and less volume of money on those investments, but also some related to the sector in particular, which is traditionally, well, it's a very traditional sector with lack of female references and lack of support networks. Still other typical factors that really prevent women to participate on entrepreneurship is family conciliation, lack of confidence as businesswoman, and many others. But still, the former Cabinet Commissioner Gabriel mentioned data that I think is very relevant to the European economy, is that gender equality could create 10.5 million jobs by 2050 and boost the EU economy between 1.995 and 3.15 billion euros. I don't want to say it wrong because I think it's a massive figure and what it could bring to the economical and social equity as well for everyone. So we create this program, Empowering Women in Agri-Food, which is an holistic program based on, as we said, the barriers that prevent women to start a business are many, and it's a complex situation. So we take a tailor-made approach where we offer them online training during 6 months, usually from May until November each year. The online training comes from experts in business, in agri-food, and successful entrepreneurs, and they also have access to resources and tools to be updated on innovations. The reason of making it usually online is also to facilitate rural women and maybe people that is working out of the big hubs of innovation to also commit and to progress on their businesses. We also offer the mentoring, one-to-one mentoring, which is the most valued part of the program, because this is personalized mentoring during 6 months, more than 20 sessions with a business mentor that is matched specifically to the needs of the women entrepreneur. And then we pay a lot of attention to the power of community, since we have seen that women want to do business but don't want to do business alone. Usually they want to share their experiences, and we are working on creating this community where you can find those references and maybe those colleagues that can empower also others on the go to create their businesses. So we have now a virtual community with more than 600 people, as well as we create a network with different entrepreneurship and networking events, etc. Important part is the funding opportunity. Funding, we have prizes after the pitch. They pitch at the end of the 6 months. They have prizes in each country for the top of 10k euros and 5k euros. But we also, the most important is we connect them to investors and other business angels and help them to access to other programs where they can find more funding. I won't talk about the values. As I mentioned, this program is specifically allocated to women entrepreneurs that have an idea in the agri-food sector, especially in South and Eastern Europe. We run the program in South of Europe, in all the South of European countries every year. In the East of Europe, every 2 years they swap the countries, but all the Eastern and Central Eastern European countries are covered. And the reason is why I say they has a lower ratio of innovation and usually a per capita lower. In each country, we select 10 female entrepreneurs, and we match them with 10 experienced mentors. The idea is to create communities that they feel also significant. So we do a very big groups. Is usually harder to be more involved and to participate at the same level and to create the connections with everyone. So we tend to create smaller groups, but with really big bounds that you can see them in the following 3 or 4 years. So the only eligible criteria is to be a woman with talent and passion for entrepreneurship and with a proven idea or business in the agri-food sector that is located in Southern and Eastern European countries. If they have a startup already registered, they can also apply, but we look for early stage, so they shouldn't be running the business for longer than 2 years, because we want to support them on the first steps. And then, well, everything is on the website, so I don't want to take a lot of your time. Here, this is slightly our impact in a nutshell. Let's say in the last 4 years, this year 2024, we are starting our 5th edition for EIT Food. So far we have supported 370 female entrepreneurs. We have around 200 mentors and experts in our community, more than 600 people in the platform. We have granted over 1 million euros in prizes, but even more importantly, the startups themselves and the women entrepreneurs themselves have attracted over 12 million euros, even being early stage, which is a massive actually acknowledgement of their innovation and their hard work. Then we have awarded around 70 startups with prizes, and we have also 15 partners around Europe that are supporting it on the ground, looking for the diagnostics and the experts, and being very, very linked with the territory, because we believe this, not every program can be done the same way in every country. Actually, they have local circumstances and economies, even landscapes. So very, very on the ground approach. And that's actually all from the Women Entrepreneurship Program that I wanted to share. If you have any question, of course, super happy to answer them. I wanted to mention very quickly another program I'm involved, but this is not EIT Food one. I'm part of the advisory board of this FLIARA project. It's a European project. It's called Female-Led Innovation in Agriculture and Rural Areas. And the reason I mention it is because I think it's linked with the topic of today, and it has a very different approach than the practical I was sharing with you with the EVA program. This is more, they has a different approach where they propose on this program is a methodology that is transdisciplinary to understand and make awareness of the recognition of the women's role in the sustainable rural future. And how they will do it, they will combine foresight studies and case studies, so the future and the present, alongside with the network building and policy benchmarking, which is also very, very important, while being underpinned by a conceptual, co-created conceptual and assessment framework. So very, very, in a very short slide, this is the 3 activities that FLIAR is working on. This is a program of 3 years, so we'll work until 2026. And as I mentioned, the outputs, let's say, are different, but also very, very important to do this policy benchmarking on women in rural areas, women-led innovations. Also very important to create a conceptual and an assessment framework that usually is underlooked. And well, now is the call is open also for if you want to be part of this women-led innovations network. So you can click on the website and find more information. Well, the consortium is also very big, and it has a lot of European countries involved. So you can find everything on the website. But that's all I wanted to say today. I think I'm around 11, 12 minutes. So I think I still have time to take the questions.
Just 15 minutes, Clara, but I know. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I know that people is not doing a lot of questions. So if you want to do, maybe you want to put questions to the people, no? Also, so I don't know if you want to introduce some questions for the speakers, so they can can interact with us also. So
thank you. I think I start talking. I talk very fast, so actually I don't know if I was catched, but I had 2 questions for you. One is if you think that soil health is interconnected with gender equality. Look, now it has been launched to the Zoom.
Yes, you can answer here.
Okay.
So we give some seconds for the people to answer, and then we can see the.
Okay, it's funny.
We need to see what's your impact of your speech, no? If people after your speech, what do we think already? No.
I think we have like very deep topics to talk in a very, very little time. So probably this is something that we could discuss for hours, but I'm sure the people get the meaning.
Let's see if we can see the results.
This one or?
Of the poll. I don't know, colleague Irene, if we can see what the people thinks. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Obviously, everyone So the second question is, which percentage of the farms being run now in Europe are managed by a woman? At least one woman. I will stop sharing because.
Well, I think it's clear that 62% is not the response.
I do have to say that people is really fast. People are really fast, yeah.
Okay. Let's see what's the good one. No, so yes. All the people say that is 28%. I don't know, Lara, you can give us
28, exactly 28%. But here it was more even the answers. Yeah.
Okay, so yes, it's more than a quarter. Yes, you are the half of the population, but only a quarter of the farms. So that's
exactly
interesting to consider.
Still, I didn't mention that of some success cases of the EPA program, because we have here today a very successful example from 2023 that Sultangul, and her colleagues from Micro Hobbyist, they were awarded with the first prize. So I didn't want to mention because now we have really amazing examples, and it will take me very hard time to choose. So I prefer them to.
Okay, yes. We go with the next speaker. As you say, the last one is going to be Sultan from Micro Hobbyist. So she's going to relate, the gender with the soil, with the soil. But first, we have Francesca Spagnoli from Enol. That also she will do this link, about the gender and the living labs that we say, as we comment before, the nation's project is really linked to the creation of living labs, mainly to the soil health and soil issues, but also in this topic, we are introducing this gender issue. So Francesca, right now you are going to tell us how we can relate the gender issues with the living lab creations.
Thank you so much. Can you see the presentation full screen?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Wonderful. Okay, so thank you everyone, and today I will give this very brief presentation of our case on the Gendered Innovation Living Labs. It's a project that has been funded last year, so we started in January 2023, and basically is funded by the European Commission under the Horizon Research and Innovation Actions, was one of the first of the Horizon Europe, and our project is lasting 36 months. And it's been developed in 10 European countries. And as you can see from this slide, we have quite a big consortium consisting of 17 partners, also different kind of expertise. As you can see here, we try always to have the whole quadruple helix stakeholder represented both in the consortium and in our stakeholders. So we are going to have a lot of initiatives that I will explain today happening both at the academic side, in museums, in local authorities, local governments, and also in SMEs. What we are trying to do with GIL, Gendered Innovation Living Lab, is to develop this pan-European collaborative and sustainable approach as a one-stop shop for tools, methods, and knowledge to enable a fairer innovation culture and a more inclusive teamwork. And basically what we're trying to do is to go overcome the idea of the usual three fixes. So fixing the women, fixing the numbers, and fixing the environment. And we want to add the fourth fix, that is fixing the culture, fixing the practice, how we're going to do approaches of innovations through the living labs, but taking into account the gender approach. And we're trying to look at this perspective really with real pilots in three different verticals: health and resilience, green transition, and digital transformation. And what we're doing already since this past year, was to focus on four main priorities. It's not enough to change the approach. We need to change organizational and cultural practices in order to develop gendered innovation. We need to enhance professional development of all categories of stakeholders through training and capacity building especially, so not only education. We want to increase also the integration of this gender, but not only gender, also diversity approach into how we are developing ICT tools. And finally, to allow also gendered educational practices. Who we're going to involve and who we are already involving in our project is this dialogue and really co-creation through the quadruple helix stakeholders coming from civil society, companies, government, and academia. But we're not focusing only on vertical priorities, as I was saying before, but also on horizontal innovation spheres, which means we're looking at not only the team working together, but also the individual, how we can enhance and empower in this approach, societal processes that are deriving from the work combined between individual and teams, innovation. So we were talking about how we develop and design ICT tools and methods by developing our tools and methods ourselves. Sorry. What we offer in the end in GIL is this pan-European collaboration hub that has just been released at the end of December, and is based on these Living Lab principles. We work together in different sectors. We work together in education, so we have an academy section. We work also to co-design these methodologies and tools. So we're really happy to open the floor to food, agri-food, and all the different sectors that would like to be involved more in our projects, and providing also your tools for developing gender-responsive smart innovation and entrepreneurship in the EU. I was saying that we are intervening in this way by focusing, reflecting, and focusing on doing, basically, how we can really change these practices. And we also have developed our tools for interventions. We have a series of around 45 tools that we have developed, and I want to give you just a very brief snapshot of what does it mean. For now, a tool. For now, it's a canvas that is uploaded in our platform. You can go there, you can download all these tools, and there is a lot of things that can help you, descriptions in order to use these tools. Today, I will just present very briefly two. One is the dodging gender duties, and basically is really supporting in workplaces to enhance a place where also men can support the office housework and can support the creating and supporting and the developing together, improving together the knowledge place. As you can see here in the canvases, there are basically the different phases, how you can use it, what are the different steps, what are the external sources and links that we have used in order to develop these tools, and how you can put them really in practice. The tools are related, the links are related also to research that has been developed before. We are a research innovation action, so we're trying to create new research, but also focusing on what has been produced so far. Another example is the diversity persona. So I think all of you know more or less what is a persona. It's a fictional users of a product. So we're trying to develop new products, especially ICT tools, by thinking about what could be the different categories of stakeholders that could buy this product. And here in the GIL project, we are trying to look at it from a different perspective, from a gendered perspective, ensuring that the personas are not reinforcing the usual stereotypes, the masculinity stereotypes, and make a broad generalization about certain groups, for example, a mother, a Gen Z, a person with disability, also to include these diversity concepts. So these are just two examples of our tools, but how do we work? Our methodological approach is really Living Lab approach, which means we always go back and forth with an iterative co-creation cycle. Usually it's a 4-phase cycle repeated twice to incorporate the feedback of all our users. So that's also how we have conceived to develop the hub that is now online, but we want to test with our users. We want to co-create it with our users. So if you have any suggestion, that will be very helpful for us. And most importantly, we are developing 15 action-oriented experimentations, which are pilots in 8 European countries to develop this new approach. And each pilot is looking at a different perspective of gendered innovation from the different 4 priorities that we have, but especially from the complementarity. As you can see here, for example, there are some that are mainly working on transport, others that are working on health, and others that are working on sustainability or ICT, but all of them, they have the same common approach in the end, to use the Living Lab methodology and to develop a result for the creation of new innovation in the gendered approach. So we would love to also open up the floor for new cases, new pilots focusing on different sectors like the one on food. So you're very welcome if you're interested. What you can get in the end is this hub that, as I was saying, is built on the Living Lab principles, is using co-creation processes, and is and will be iterative, co-developed with the users. These are more or less the modules that you can find. There will be a landing page where there will be also now, but in the future, more self-assessment learning tool you can enter. You can answer a few questions, and by answering the question, we can already give you instructions on which kind of tools you could be more interested in, which kind of training services that might be most relevant for you. In fact, in the Learning and Sharing Hub part, there would be the Academy and also mentoring program. If you finalize a little bit of different training services, you can get the possibility to book a mentor for half an hour on a specific topic you would be interested to learn more. One of these topics will be mainly divided into two verticals. One will be the Living Lab topics. So, for example, how to develop a business model for my Living Lab. And the other ones will be more on gender innovation approach, like, for example, get up plans and masculinity, how to develop workshops to reduce masculinity in your entrepreneurial activities. Then we have also collaborative ecosystem with visual map of all the stakeholders working on different kind of topics you can filter in the EU on gender innovation and Living Labs. And toolbox with all these tools that I've just presented, and also dynamic dashboard where you can make analysis of data available already in our platform and online. And finally, forum and polling system. So you can both ask questions, but also create simple surveys that you want to use to get data from your users. And finally, there will be a repository with all this information, a kind of a Jill cloud. In the end, the common goal is to create a community of practice. And how do we want to do that? We have setting up already in this past year a series of gender intelligence group, which means our experts that have supported us in creating our methodology, in developing the platform, and trying to understand what is really needed from the expert point of view in terms of tools. We have our pilots. We are collaborating with sister projects, but also we have the Living Lab network of Inol that has created a working group on gender innovation Living Labs. And everyone can enroll. So if you're interested, you can drop me a message and I can send you the link also to be part of this working group on gender innovation Living Labs. And finally, the stakeholder communities. We will develop not only the hub and the tools, but also a complete framework, vocabulary for gender innovation Living Labs, and finally, policies. If you want to get involved, there are a series of capacity building initiatives happening. These are all the ones that we are thinking about to develop in 2024. And apart from this, I cannot go, I guess, on each one of them into the details, but there will be some online workshops that in March and April, so that we will share the links with you as well. So if you want, you can get in touch with us. And finally, an international summer school in Copenhagen in August. So if you're interested, you can join us. It's open to everyone and for free. And the OLLD 2024, which is the flagship annual conference of the annual community, the European Network of Living Labs, where we're going to discuss also about policy development for gender innovation Living Labs. And this year will be in September from the 24th onwards in Timișoara in Romania. And I think it's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Francesca. Really interesting also, as you say, the Living Labs and how to put this gender bias, no? So how to introduce this new vision of the, not only for the project, but also for this creation of Living Labs. So yes, we go with the, I don't know if there is any question, I think no. So yes, we can go with the last speaker. Thank you again, Francesca. So right now we go with Sultan. Sultan is one of the successful companies or successful entrepreneurs supported by the EUA program that Lara showed before. And Sultan is the CEO of the Micro Hobbyist. It's a company, she's going to explain right now who they are and what they are doing related with this soil health and the product. So Sultan, the floor is yours right now.
Well, thank you for information. And I'm screen is ready now, not now, sorry. Yes. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. And dear participant, thank you for your interest and thank you for invitation, dear nations team. Well, before I start my presentation, I have a question for you. And how many different bacteria can be found in a single gram of soil?
Interesting question. Yeah. No. See.
If all answers is ready,
Yes, we can see the answers, and no one said 20,000, 18% of people 60,000, 11 70,000, and the majority 71 is more than 1 million, 1 million bacteria. So, which one is the correct one?
16,000 is the correct answer, actually.
It's a 60. Okay.
Thank you for thank you for answers.
We don't know a lot about bacteria in soils.
Yeah. And well, hello again. And my name is Sultan. I'm co-founder of Microbist. Today we are talking about soil health, and in addition to our sustainable product MH1. Nearly 200 million tons of agricultural chemicals used in the world a year. Agriculture depended upon heavy input of pesticides and fertilizers. Humanity needs enough food for the burgeoning population across the globe. However, the excessive use of chemical fertilizers causes nutrient imbalance in soil. Agricultural chemicals are long-term impacts on the soil resource. These chemicals pollute the soil, air, and groundwater. Despite burgeoning population across the globe, the concerns related to issues such as human and environmental health, maintenance of ecological balance, and conservation of soil biodiversity cannot be overlooked. Chemical fertilizers causes greenhouse gas emissions, algal blooms in water bodies, and in addition to affect microbial diversity of the soil. It is now confirmed from various studies that the structural and functional properties of microbial communities in soil are sustainably affected by prolonged use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides. So microorganisms are everywhere, and actually these are very beneficial for ecosystem. A soil microbiome has a huge amount of microorganisms, including bacteria, archaea, viruses, and yeast. Many microorganisms beneficial for the ecosystem health. They ensure the cycling of micro elements in the soil. They act decomposers for organic matter, and they has many beneficial effects. Plant root microorganisms very important for plant health. They feed, protect, and grow plants. Actually, including leaf, flowers, and any part of the plants has many microorganisms, and it's very important for plants. Soil fertility, nutrient cycling, improved availability of limited nutrients, and decomposition of organic and inorganic matter are regulated by the soil microflora. Soil microflora, which includes bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and algae. In addition to the soil microflora positively affect physical properties of the soil, such as its structure, porosity, and aeration. The soil microbial community also plays pivotal roles in the execution of eco-friendly processes such as bioremediation of contaminated soils and biocontrol of plant pathogens and other. things. Soil health associated with microbial biodiversity and stability. As microbists, we use the microbial diversity. MH1 is a biopesticide and it increases yield productivity. We aim at minimize the damage of agricultural chemicals. So we protect plants from pests in addition to increasing yields with agriculture-friendly microorganisms. Our product falls into the biochemical pesticide class according to classification of biopesticides by the United States Environmental Protection Agency. We are inspired by nature and our product is fully natural. We use the chickpea plant roots and soil microbiome by producing our product. There are many beneficial microorganisms in the soil and plant roots. We isolate this and they produce beneficial molecules for plants in laboratory conditions. We present liquid form. Our prototype is on the right picture. 250 ml product is sufficient for 1 hectare area. It is almost the size of a packet of milk, actually. Preliminary trial results are seen on chickpea plants. Now we keep trying with 5 different plants. It can be used for other plants, including pepper, corn, lettuce, and broccoli. We produced our prototype with the support of TÜBİTAK, and we have completed a laboratory scale technology validation. We are at TRL 5 levels and conducting greenhouse trials to validate its accuracy in relevant environment. As a result of the use of chemical fertilizers in Turkey, greenhouse gas emissions equivalent to 11 million tons of carbon dioxide occur annually. And our carbon footprint is increased rapidly. And we aim to reduce these greenhouse gas emissions to 0.55% by selling 10,000 products at the end of 2025. We have microorganisms produce our production, and our social effect is based on food safety by reducing the use of chemical pesticides. The reduction of in the use of chemicals also reduces healthcare expenses. Also, our product is aligned with the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals and Turkey Presidency of Strategy and Budget 12th Development Plan. So, we received seed investment with PIC and established our company, Microbist Biotechnology. And we started product validation in 2 greenhouses. We agreed with 5 customers and recently received the EVA First Award. We aim to complete the licensing process in the next half year. Our negotiations with the Valentis for industrial production is continue. We expect a bridge investment of $250 billion. At the end of the next 2 years, we will process validation of citrus types of products and open them to the international Northern European market. Our company was founded by 4 female entrepreneurs who had the vision of applying their academic knowledge in the sector. We have a dynamic and effective team with our friends who joined our team. We have a large team of consultants who are experts and equipped in their fields. Thank you for attention. Let's protect our future together. Thank you.
Okay.
If you have any questions, our contact information is here. Now you can reach us.
Okay, thank you very much, Sultan.
Actually, we have a question in the chat.
Yes.
Ah,
Yes.
you said. Well, I say that Sultan, please, could you provide any feedback on the product's performance for woody crops, such as olives or almonds? This is a question from Antonio Manzanera.
Okay. Actually, we just didn't try these plants, and I don't have any information about this.
Okay.
Maybe I can answer the question. Thank you for your question. Normally, we didn't complete this R&D process, and we will going on this other plants. I hope we are overthink about it. I hope as soon as. Thank you for the question.
Thank you very much, Busra. So thank you for the presentations, thank you for the answers. Now, bueno, Paula, you are here. Paula is my colleague there.
Yes, thank you.
I don't know if you want to tell something and to wrap up about the session.
Well, actually, we did have 5 minutes for the wrap up to close the session. We are we are running a bit late. Just to give a big thank you to everyone, to all the speakers. Despite the technical problems, we made it, and it was quite inspiring and also scaring. Something talking about the how fragile our food system is, and so on. So it was very interesting. Thank you. I don't know if there are many questions on any other questions because this is the last minute to do any question. But anyway, there is a Miro board that we put the link in the chat, so you can go to the Miro board and you can do matchmaking with some of the attendants of today. There are very nice questions in the Miro board and people that really wants to collaborate. So please have a look to it, and you will have all the information from the Nations project in the website. And we do have also the matchmaking platform that we put also. Thank you, Eugenia, you just put the link on the chat. So please go to the matchmaking platform. You can register yourself and you can do really nice connections there, besides the Miro board too, where you can see all the emails of the people attending today. And you can check on the agenda of other thematic events for Nations project, not only these ones, and also the national engagement events that we are performing in each country during 2024. Normally it should be between February and March. We will be doing national engagement event in place in all the countries in Europe. So get to know about the agenda in our website. And I think that will be all from my side. I don't know if anyone else want to add anything. If not, thank you very much for being here. Thank you to the speakers. And I hope this was a nice event for you all. Thank you very much.